Mr. Dan Geltrude. Dan, looking good, feeling good. Happy Friday. Happy end of February, my friend.
Same to you, pal.
I love that someone like you, who I think of more of a Wall Street analyst, sent us notes and said, let's talk beef. Stage is yours, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that's being overlooked, Tommy, because everybody is focused in on the price of eggs. And of course, that's a very big topic because eggs are in everything. So when the price of eggs are going up the way they are, it's making all grocery prices go up all over the place. But let's take a look at what else is happening, and that relates to beef, as you pointed out. 5.5% up just in January when you only had 1.9% in food at home costs. So, I mean, you're talking about more than double. So I think it's worth taking a look at saying, well, why is this? And I think there's some reasons. To start with, cattle herds are at an historic low right now. So referencing supply and demand, so the herds are down, so we're seeing supply being reduced. That's limiting beef production, but yet demand is staying steady, so you're automatically going to have a shortfall, and when that happens, Tommy, you're going to pay for it.
And we're paying for it dearly. Now, I once or twice a year buy either a half a beef or a whole beef from clients. Big shout out to one of them. He's probably watching, Kelly. And he said it's becoming harder for him to sell beef, or that people used to buy a half or buying a quarter. We're all feeling the pinch. And something that's so important here, as a Wall Street guy, we can't do a new IPO of cattle, correct?
That's right. So it is what it is. And look, when you have these situations happening, consumers make the adjustment, right? So things get too expensive and it's out of your price range. What happens? You buy less or you stop buying it all. Now, there likely is going to be a shift here, in my opinion, for people to get their protein from, let's say, chicken, pork, and going in that direction. Because why? People have to substitute. And when that happens, if that is what's going to happen, you'll then see demand start to drop and the supply will, well, even out, I guess, to what people want.
Yeah, it's my understanding there's a bunch of folks in Washington, D.C. that are going to be more on the ramen noodle budget here with the amount of layoffs, and we're cleaning up. Do people not realize, I know you do, but do people not realize how much money the government put out since, you know what was 5 years ago today? I don't want to say it, right? But the amount of money that was pumped out, they're taking it back, aren't they, Dan?
Yeah, and you know, I've been asked this question a number of times in terms of, well, how long is this trend going to continue related to inflation? And how come Trump isn't solving the problem? Let's start with the second part of that. Well, the guy has only been in office a month, and as you could see following the news cycle, he's got plenty going on here. But you need time for his policies to work their way through. And it's going to take a while. And what's a while? A year or two. So I think people are going to continue to suffer, unfortunately. Now, what has been the core of inflation, though, Tommy, has really been government spending. So we got to hope now that we're maybe finally reining that in. And if we do that successfully, I think we'll be a lot healthier financially as a country and also individually.
Mm-hmm. You know what scares me as this cattle market continues to go up is that when people change their buying habits, when they start buying less, they don't just zip back into it. It's kind of like, when I was younger, a lot of us used to drive to Chicago to the Board of Trade. Then gas went so high, some of us carpooled or took a bus or started riding the train. And some people say, I like riding the train. I could play on my phone. I could do this. They don't go back. So think of it that we're all driving individually to get there in the food supply. Then we just start looking for alternatives. And that's your point about the chicken and pork, correct?
Yes, that's true. Unless, Tommy, in that case, unless beef prices are really going to come down, right, that incentivizes people to go back, you probably lose a certain segment of that consumer market related to beef.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, we got about a minute left. The markets have been extremely, extremely volatile. I left the set yesterday, went back, NASDAQ futures tanking, extreme volatility in Bitcoin. You're on the talking education circuit. What's on your mind?
Well, I think what's on people's minds in general is what's going to happen related to tariffs. I think that's what's driving what I'll call some indigestion in the stock market, because nobody knows how this is going to play out. And I've said to people, Trump's a deal maker. Just let's see how he's playing this out. Maybe the tariffs will happen, but maybe they won't.
Yeah, he has a much stronger cabinet. This is a much different president. Many people are upset he didn't win in 2020. I think it worked out just fine. We have, in my opinion, the right person for the right job. There's some serious issues, and we got a serious guy and cabinet behind him. Dan, I got to hop. Tell your son I said hi. I've been watching his clips. We got a mini-me out there who's going to challenge you here pretty soon. Thanks, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks, my friend.